Hello everyone and welcome. Now today is a very special day because today is our season finals of our Adaptive Esports tournaments featuring Rocket League. I'm your host Glitter Explosion, joined by Frank here on the desk. We have been through, was it 5 weeks of competition to get here today. We have so many storylines that we need to talk about, and first we're going to walk all of you guys through this format. If you somehow are just showing up for these season finals, we had 4 weeks of qualifiers and an LCQ to get our top 8 that made their way here today. Now we're going to have a very similar format in the sense that it still will be our standard game rules, the 7 rule the goal limit, but it's now a double elimination bracket, and we're starting things right at those winners finals, so we're starting at the best of 5 stage of this bracket.
Correct. So all the series towards the end of that bracket are going to be extended, just so teams have kind of more of a chance to study their opponents, get more games in, and just kind of increase the matches that way. And then the grand final also going to be extended to a best of 7, with the one caveat here being that whichever team is coming into that grand final from the upper bracket will have a 1 game advantage going into that best of 7 series, so they will start a game ahead from whoever comes in from the lower side.
That's a huge advantage. Huge advantage, too, when you take a look at the prize pool. Okay, things have changed with the money as well. We have a massive prize pool on the line today. Yeah,
it's a $20,000 prize pool, I believe, spread over all 8 teams. So just by nature of qualifying for the season finals, you're going to get a little bit of a payday. But of course, you see the disparity here. You're obviously wanting to get into that lion's share of the prize pool. First place is going to be taking home $6,500. Second, $4,500. And Lauren, that's what you're kind of getting at with that 1 game advantage. It's potentially a $2,000 difference at the top in that grand finals match. Now, third place also walking away with a respectable $3,000, fourth $2,000, and then our 5th and 6th place teams will be walking away with $1,250, and 7th and 8th receiving $750 respectively.
Talk about a really good reward after the amount of effort and time that our entire community has put into this event. And then speaking of the rest of the community, as always, immediately after this broadcast, everybody, we will be doing our community game night. You, of course, can head over to at.gg to join in on all of the fun. But it's the last opportunity of the season, Frank. They have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, get in on this one. Of course, it's the last opportunity of this season, which is an important note to make, and we might have more on that later, so you're going to want to stay tuned, of course, for any announcements. But, staying tuned for announcements, but you also want to stay tuned for these giveaways.
100%. So not only is the prize pool increased, but we decided to increase the giveaways as well. Okay, exclamation point AET in chat to get yourself entered to win this amazing Logitech G peripheral bundle, and we've got 3 this time to give away to all of you wonderful people in our community hanging out with us in chat watching this amazing tournament. So make sure you are doing that in chat. You can also do exclamation point rules for all of the information there, but you don't want to miss out on that. And then finally, we talked about it all season, but if you are so inclined to support any of our amazing charity partners, you can head on over to aet.gg/donate, and your donation will be split equally amongst those 3 partners you see down there at the bottom of your screen, and they are the big reason we can put this entire event on.
Yeah, without them, really none of this is possible. Kind of them all coming together is what makes our Adaptive Esports tournaments happen, so big thank you to them, and if you can donate, all the more thanks.
And listen, I hinted at it before, but we have to start talking about the storylines, okay? We finally get to see the bracket. Now, this is the upper half of the bracket, and you can see how things went in quarterfinals, what happened in semifinals. Like I said, we're going to be starting off with the upper finals, which is going to be Double Trouble versus Dotes. No surprise there, right?
I mean, it depends who you ask, right? Whoopsies, of course, being that previous champion. True. I think a lot of these teams even, kind of in the Discord, kind of communicating with some of these players, they were a little bit worried, right? Because you have Whoopsies being last season's champions, waiting until the LCQ to enter, and people not really being able to gauge that competition. So obviously they're the champions coming in. They're going to be kind of favorited. And then with that being the LCQ, they get the 8th seed. So they're going to be playing the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed is then concerned, these are the champions. They shouldn't be the 8th seed. And there's a little drama there. But as fates would have it, Double Trouble able to take them to the third game in that series and then topple Whoopsies, sending them to the lower bracket early. So it's weird to call it an upset, because it's technically on paper not, but I think it was pretty even split opinion-wise on who was going to take that first match.
Okay, well, don't worry about whoopsies yet, because we're going to take a look at the lower bracket, because don't forget it's double elimination, which means the hopes and dreams of whoopsies are still alive because they've made it to the semifinals so far in that lower bracket, and they're staying alive. They only need one more win to put them into the finals to then, make it through that, to then go into the grand finals. But they're almost there.
Yeah, we're spinning a real yarn of a narrative here. if you, this is why you guys got to watch week after week, because us trying to summarize this for you is not going to be as productive as if you just had tuned in. But yeah, the general sense is whoopsies was kind of favorited because they were the previous season champions. But they come in, they lose to the first place team. Mm-hmm. The first place team going through that bracket, going all the way to the third game in each of those series. Now we're going to have best of fives coming up, so there's going to be some more wiggle room in terms of the matches. But the other kind of big thing to consider is Dotes also performing super well throughout that bracket. I believe they had a few more 2-0s under their belt than some of the other teams. And really the big thing for me is I get the chance, all these teams get the chance to compete, win some of that prize pool. I get the chance to be correct for maybe the first time in my career. If you watch the LCQ, kind of predicting that I think Dotes really would be my favorite going into this, just kind of the way everything was shaking out. We'll have to see. I'm typically wrong, and I know my co-caster Samael loves to attest to that. That's been a little repeated back and forth history between us, as well as I'm infamously known for being wrong. So we're just gonna have to see how that goes.
All right. Well, we are kicking today off with that infamous match, Double Trouble versus Dotes. So Samael and Frank, take it away.
All right, Samael. I know. My prediction's historically awful, but we'll have to see. We are going to start off with Dotes here, who I was kind of favoriting to take this whole tournament. But I mean, the way all of these teams have been performing, I think really it is whoever's going to be performing best on the day.
No doubt about it. And frankly, Frank, if you can get this one right, then this will do a lot for you, because this is one of the toughest ones really to gauge, I think, of any competition that I've seen so far. All of these teams just so good. A lot of skill on the field, and really, even in this matchup right here, whoever goes down in the lower from this matchup, I mean, that will be really a tragedy for them, because we've got some unbelievable talent, like I said.
Yeah, that lower half is kind of scary in and of itself, because you have the previous season's champions down there waiting. But here we have Dotes going for a shot on net. He's going to be able to get that first goal up on the board. It's Disbel. We've seen amazing plays like this out of him throughout the entire AET season, able to take these 1v2s and break the axles of those defenders. So it's going to be Dotes on the board early here. We'll see how this kickoff goes. It's Solitude with a nice 50, being contested now by Michael, who's been another kind of superstar here for us in these AET events. Of course, partnered up with Fear the Nub. He's on the net right now, but that one is going to have just enough juice on it to squeeze its way into the net, and Dotes is up early, 2-0 here.
Couple of quick goals here from Disbel. The first goal, really a nice juke, and then this one just a hard shot on net, perfectly placed into the upper corner, giving Dotes that early 2-0 lead. And really, they've had all the pressure. They've got 2 shots, and it's been all defense for Double Trouble. Unfortunately for them, it's only getting worse right here off of the kickoff. It bounces up off of the ceiling, perfectly placed again, but that one a little less intended. Either way, counts the same.
Yeah, you take those ones, right? When the gift kind of drops into your lap like that, if you're Dotes, you're just happy to be up 3-0 with under a minute have played here in our first game. Now, if you're a Double Trouble fan and you're worried here, well, maybe Disbel will make you continue to worry with the way he's playing, but this is, of course, going to be a best of 5, so there'll be an extra game in this series to determine the winner. If I had to theory craft a little bit, I'm sure Double Trouble, coming off some exhausting series against whoopsies and the like, has probably got them needing a little bit of a breather. But with a long bracket like this, you really have to be able to shake off those unfortunate situations and recover. We'll have to see if Dotes continues to apply this pressure, or if Double Trouble can start to get things going here. It's Michael up with a little aerial, tries to slip it past one defender. It's going to be unable to do so as Dotes has that net heavily guarded here. Sphere the Nut back on defense. The crossbar is going to prevent that shot from going in for Dotes. Michael taking the wrap now, trying to get this offense started yet again. Typically our point man here for Double Trouble. But it's Dotes again up on this backboard. And Disbel with the ball is always a threat. He's up. Michael is back still on the orange side of the pitch. Can Solitude make this one correct? Course correct that shot on net. No, that one is not going to find the goal. So play is going to be reset at the midfield line now. Disbel hustling back, trying to get into position on defense, but realizing Solitude has possession here. He's going to start trying to get aggressive, but Disbel realizing Solitude is stuck in that 2v1, is going to double back, try to help out his teammate a little bit, perhaps look for a passing play, but it's going to be a little bit backwards, so we're going to have to restart this offensive pressure. That contest is going to go towards that orange side of the pitch, but not sure if Double Trouble's able to make anything of it. Disbel is up with a fantastic aerial, tries to drop that one down into the net, but thankfully Michael is going to be there for the save.
Man, we've seen skill plays before from Disbel, but right now he's on another plane, really. Nearly got a double flip reset right there. That was almost nasty, and honestly, they don't even need it. They got this 4-0. They're just cruising right now, but Disbel is absolutely everywhere, has 6 shots. That's a big clear to the side right there, and it's really just a matter of Disbel versus the world right now, and for Double Trouble, they've got to find a way to neutralize the offense that's coming out of Disbel because he is doing everything for Dotes.
I will say, you know, they've course corrected a bit. It looks like they're trying to get a little bit more physical towards Disbel, knock him off of those patterns, try to make him work for it a little bit. Almost that shot going to connect as well. But for the first minute, it was bad looking, right? Dotes essentially went up 4-0 in that first minute. But for the next 2, Double Trouble has done a better job of battling back here, shutting down some of those options that Disbel is looking for. So now I think the last little piece to their puzzle is just getting some of this offense going, holding on to these possessions and making Dotes kind of respect their offensive play. But so far with this Dotes lead, I think they're comfortable just kind of taking things slow, making sure they're on defense, protecting their net, and taking whatever offensive opportunities come their way. So for the time being, it's Disbel trying to get the save. Michael will get demoed, but he does manage to get the clear. That one will fall into the hands of Solitude. He's looking to set up his teammate here now. Of course, Double Trouble going to be spawning back in. All players up on the pitch. Disbel, though, going to be able to deflect that one away. Can he wrap back and get the touch? It's almost in, but the post, but Solitude is there with the insurance policy.
Disbel again just wreaking havoc on the defense right now. Gets across, gets another touch on his own rebound. Really, he shouldn't have been able to get around on that, but there he is somehow, some way, finding a way to get it done. Solitude just has to step up, tap it in, and that's going to be all she wrote, really. 5-0, under a minute to play right here for Dotes, and they took that first minute and they ran with it because they were super comfortable after a big 4-0, and why not? And here we see Disbel again, the pop, the demo, the goal. It is absolutely just pandemonium.
I think, you know, Disbel, we talk about the mechanics all the time, right? Super impressive, flashy plays coming out of him. But the thing that makes him such a threat is that game sense, knowing that if he goes for the demo there, it's a guaranteed goal. And just like that, Samael, it's going to be Dotes taking the first game in this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, you see there it is, 7. If you haven't watched before, 7 goals means we are done as we got the cap set. And that means Dotes take that game 1, like you said. What a dominant victory from start to finish. They scored in many different ways, most of them through Disbel, and through some really good shooting in that first minute as well. I know they had that kickoff goal, which definitely helped as it put them, I think, at 3-0. But Disbel's shot placement on those first 3 of those 4 goals was just phenomenal, and especially that juke. I love how he got us started juking out Michael. Michael, one of the better players. I mean, we've seen Michaels do the same thing to defense. But unfortunately for Michael and Fear the Nub, they weren't able to get out of their end. And this is a team that's much more comfortable down playing offense. Just 2 shots on net that entire game. It's not going to get it done.
Yeah, I think the shocking thing to kind of point out here is that Double Trouble is that first place seed. This is the top team who was able to beat last season's champions, and now in their first showing against Dotes, take a 0-7 loss. So hopefully they can bounce back. It might be a little bit of a shock to the system, but it also might be just some fatigue wearing in because they had such a tough round one matchup. They might just need a little bit of a breather. Hopefully they can make those adjustments going into this next game of the series. But, I think you bring up a good point. It is kind of Disbel and Michael. I would kind of toss up as some of the most talented individual players on the team, on these teams that we've kind of seen. But, it's kind of on those secondary, the tertiary players that are making the difference right now. Solitude being in those positions to get the pass over to Disbel, making sure he's back on defense. And I think if Fear the Nub can kind of find some of those similar openings, it'll be a much closer back and forth here between these two teams.
Yeah, and of course, it all starts as well with getting some offensive pressure, finding a lead if they possibly can. Playing down is so difficult. Playing down more than a few is really tough, and that's what Double Trouble found themselves in almost instantly in that game. So yeah, coming out on offense, this already is looking good where they've got some offense going. They've already got 2 shots. They've matched their entire shot total for the entirety of that first game, but this isn't good. This is going to bounce in, and yeah, that's a miss in the corner, and it's in the back of the net.
Yeah, tough little just kind of a cascade off one minor mistake there from Michael. Unfortunately not getting that initial touch. Tries to cut back to get the save, but ball essentially already in net. So Dotes is going to go up 1 early yet again, but it's a much better showing off the rip from Double Trouble. Hopefully they can carry some of that momentum, and oh no, an unfortunate touch yet again from Michael. Solitude and Disbel just going to power this one through the defense to get that second goal on the board.
Yeah, I like that though. The flip, he is getting the ball there with the second half of his flip, essentially really times that perfectly to Solitude, and that's a pretty good win there with that big Jeep of his, as they're looking like monsters out here. And unfortunately for Double Trouble, they're looking like dinosaurs. They've been around so long in this tournament. I feel like this was the team. If you'd have asked me, I know you're all about Dotes, I would have definitely went against you, Frank, just for that reason. But I honestly think Double Trouble is a good team. I'm surprised so far the way this has gone. But we're still early in this series so far, so hopefully they can get back in. But honestly, got to find a way to neutralize this offense that's just spending so much time deep in their zone.
Yeah, and Samael, to address that point, I don't blame you for betting against me, no matter what I say, with my track record of predictions, but I did feel pretty good about this one. I do, however, think, there is some opportunities here for Double Trouble. Like the first goal, for example, it's just a slight mistouch by Michael that results in that Dotes goal, and there's a nice takeaway there from that Disbel aerial play. So I think Double Trouble is making some of those adjustments, but unfortunately, they've got kind of a bad luck streak going. You look at that kickoff goal in game number 1 that kind of secures the 3-0 early lead, and then a tough little break touch by Michael here against Dotes that gets them the early 1-goal lead. So I think Double Trouble is in this one closer than it may appear. That's a great little bump shot attempt from Michael, but an even more fantastic save coming through from Disbel. So Double Trouble making those adjustments that they need to, just unfortunately not being reflected in the scoreboard just yet. And what was some great offensive pressure just unfortunately didn't transition back to defense quite quick enough to stop this goal from Disbel.
Yeah, and in twos, this can happen so frequently where you're put in an odd man situation there. Michael trying to keep that pace. Their pace was good. Double Trouble, like you mentioned, they were really starting to figure some things out. The pace had improved. The quickness meant they were winning more challenges, but one miss at mid means it's a 1v2 the other way, and we've seen how good Dotes are when they get those odd man situations back the other way. They've got another one right here as Disbel goes back to the wall. Solitude gonna have to go back to his wall all the way back downfield. Good job by Fear the Nub of stepping up and just taking that play away. As we go into the second half of this game, now is the time for Double Trouble, now or never. Hopefully be able to get a goal on their board. They are still looking for their first goal of this series.
Yeah, and that was just a great kind of heads-up play by Solitude. Didn't have the greatest position, but just kind of put his Jeep in the way of Double Trouble and waited for Dismal to get back on the rotation. There's a great little passing play coming through from Fear the Nub, and Michael able to get on the board now. And Samael, it's just what you were saying. They needed to get something going here pretty soon as we hit that halfway mark in this game, and they finally do. Just down 2 goals now. We'll have to see if they can continue that momentum going forward. It's a nice little kickoff touch from Michael. It's going to be on the orange side of the pitch. We'll have to see if they can test against Dismal. Unfortunately, a great 50 going the way of Dismal. He's just got 1 defender now, but it is going to be stuffed. Can the defense now make this transition? No, Solitude is going to be there to keep this one on the blue side of the pitch. For the time being, play going to be reset on either end. The ball is high flying at the 50-yard line. Solitude getting a nice clear again towards the blue net. Dismal now trying to get this one. It's a high touch for him. He's got Fear the Nub, Michael on defense. So Solitude just going to slowly rotate back, guard that net. That's been a great deterrent for Double Trouble. Really not being able to get aggressive in these transitions is you most always have Solitude rotating back on defense after each Dismal shot attempt. He really only approaches forward when he's got something almost guaranteed or when he has a really nice shot attempt. So that's undoubtedly slowed down some of this offense from the blue team. And here we have another play attempt, but it's Dismal yet again with the swipe. Gonna try to set up Solitude here with the play, but it's a good contest coming through from Michael. Fear the Nub trying to get the clear downfield, but just couldn't quite get the strong touch he was looking for. Dismal 1 boost left in the tank. Not gonna be looking to get too aggressive on that play. Now we have Fear the Nub in a similar situation, no boost, manages to snag the corner. It's a great little touch from Solitude, able to win that trade out, get the ball back into the hands of Dismal. Dismal's got a full tank. He's looking for a play here, sets up Solitude, but it's swiped away. Fear the Nub, and it's straight on net. It's going to be Fear the Nub with the goal to bring us within 1.
I'd begun to wonder if Double Trouble were waiting too long, but they were just biding their time, waiting for that moment to strike. You mentioned transition, and when you've got a close game like this, you can't give up another goal. They know they can't make a mistake like that, so yeah, they were patient in their play, but it works out there. Fear the Nub gets a second, and now there's a chance here on the board for Double Trouble, the best chance they've had in this series to potentially get us back to tie and maybe an OT, maybe just a win for this team, but they got to get downfield, got to get a goal right here. Here's now Dismal, though, going to fire the shot on, and it is in. To the wayside goes that 1 goal deficit. Instead, it's 2, and Dotes are back. And that may be it, as it's now 22 seconds to go, and Double Trouble are back within 2.
Man, just look at that team play out of Dotes. Solitude getting that bump to clear the lane for Dismal to take that shot. It's perfectly orchestrated, and that's all off the back of a Dismal heads-up play where he gets the demo onto Fear the Nub to stop the offense. Dotes is definitely in season finals form here, almost willing that goal into existence, potentially shutting down the Double Trouble tying goal. It looks like they're able to stall this one out. Dotes is going to take game number 2 in a nail-biter.
Yeah, a nail-biter for sure, and now in the best of 5, backs against the wall for Double Trouble. They're starting to find some things out, I think, figure some things out there. We saw that. They finally get on the board. They get a couple of goals, but it's just not enough, and I think they've got to find a way to get the lead. I mentioned that coming into this game. We haven't seen them play with the lead so far. It just brings a level of comfort when you can finally get that off your back, but unfortunately for them, they've been down the entirety of these games. I mentioned at about the 1 or 2 minute mark, they really picked up their pace in this game. I think that paid dividends for them. They started to really push Dotes back. That's kind of the equivalent of punching back in this heavyweight battle here. Even though they didn't immediately get a goal out of it, you could see that Dotes had to really begin to rethink their strategy. That's where you said Solitude started to weight back a lot more, but they had that lead again, and you can play a little bit more defensive when you've got the lead. And so this is really that moment. The first minute, I think, of this game is really going to decide how the rest of this series goes.
Yeah, that lead early kind of unlocks Dote's entire game plan, right? It's Dismal can now take these risks with aerials kind of going all in on offense, and Solitude can kind of hang back if the play doesn't go Dismal's way. But if they don't have that lead, you can't really take those kind of risks So yeah, I think if Double Trouble in this potential final game number 3, if Dotes can take it, if they can get that lead early, it'll force Dotes to make those gameplay adjustments, knock them a little bit off balance, force them to approach the game a little bit differently. So we'll have to see how this one pans out. Of course, you have such an offensive threat like Dismal. It's going to be tough, but it's a great save early on from Michael.
Oh yeah, on the goal line, I thought for sure that was going to be Dismal getting a goal, and I was thinking, oh, here we go again for Double Trouble, but no. Michael, too much. The biggest stop of the night here for Double Trouble. That may just be the stopgap to give them some life in this series. As Michael has come to play, he has not given up yet. He wants to stay up in this upper bracket and wants to prove that they are this team to beat. Here is now Michael up over the net. Solitude gets bumped out of the way. Fear the Nub doesn't get the shot on, not expecting the bump play, but a smart play by Michael to set up that shot there. And all of a sudden, Michael has some momentum, some gas behind him, and he is ready to crank that boost up and get moving.
Yeah, it's a much cleaner start. It's a much more offensive start here for Double Trouble, and it's the longest we've gone in one of these games without a goal from Dotes. But here we have just Michael back. Dismal out of boost. It's going to have to abandon that play. Solitude, however, playing that 50 is going to try to keep this offense going. It's up off the backboard. Dismal with a pass to himself. He's going to be able to get on the board first yet again.
Yeah, that high chip, so hard to read for Michael there. He's basically going up and over his shoulder to try to get up and grab that, but can't do it. It's a really good play by Dotes to go for that waterfall pass down. If the backboard isn't covered, you got to use that all day, and that's exactly what Dismal did. You mentioned before, not just the mechanical prowess, but the decision-making as well coming from Dismal. Really has been the MVP and the leader here for this Dotes team. Again, they get started off with the goal, with the lead, and we see Double Trouble play from behind. I think they got to keep it at 1 right now. I know that's a lot to say, but it just really feels like they got to play as perfect as can be if they're going to get back in this.
Yeah, I think the saving grace here is that at this point in time in our previous 2 games, Dotes had been up a significantly more amount of goals, so they've got a little bit of breathing room to try to get this offense started, and I'm sure Dotes desperately looking kind of for that answer to extend that lead so they can get back to their game plan. I think there's been some great looks of passes. Can Dismal get this one? Solitude tries to fly through, and that one not going to connect. Looks like Dismal trying to keep this play alive in the corner. Fear the Nub, no boost, so a threatening situation from any shot attempts coming through from Dotes. Doesn't look like Solitude's going to be able to secure a shot on net, so the defense now will be forced to wrap back. Dotes being able to grab this one, get their offense started yet again, but it's a nice contest. I really like that Michael is looking for some of these passing plays. I think Fear the Nub just kind of not adjusted yet to having Michael look for the pass versus the shot, and that's more the bread and butter of Double Trouble. Fear the Nub setting up Michael just absolutely perfect here with the tying goal.
Yeah, and on the money with what you said there, Fear the Nub needing to find Michael because Michael is looking for those passes. He's in the passing lanes, ready and waiting for those feeds. There it was from Fear the Nub, and Michael, 5 saves, got the first goal here for his team, ties it up. He has been doing everything, and you can feel the sense of urgency coming here from Double Trouble. They understand what it means to stay up in this upper, and that their chances are so much more if they can go into that grand final with that first game in their hand. So we will see now if that urgency continues to pay off for them. This is the first time I feel like they got tied back up as well, Frank. So already they're doing things they have not done in this series, but can they get the lead?
Yeah, this is where that best of 5 can really come into effect. Double Trouble, kind of statistically speaking, in terms of goals, has tougher game 1s, and then they would always start to find their flow in those later games of the series, being a little bit more of a analytical, strategic team where they try to figure out their opponents. An unfortunate miss here might result in a goal, but the post is going to save that one, and Michael will ensure that one doesn't find the net. Fear the Nub now has the demo, a brief power play opportunity for Double Trouble. They're going to opt to slow this one down. Again, this is upper bracket life here for Double Trouble. They need to take this one to start the reverse sweep of the series. Now it's Solitude with the solo play, but that one not going to find the net. Dismal has to get back on defense. A little bit of a role reversal here. Thankfully, Dismal having some nice clears. Dangerously slow in front of that net, I will say, Samael. That one looking a little bit dicey.
I'm thinking, is this going to roll in? Are we going to game 4 on that right there? As it nearly does roll into the back of Dote's net, but they knew what they were doing. They let it roll all the way to the corner, and it works out for them. And oh no, this is bad news the other way. The back pass doesn't work out. A big demo as well to clear the field, and Dotes regain the lead.
Yeah, and I think, it's the right idea in that kind of sense. You have Michael back there, but with that pressure Dotes was putting onto that passing play, the ball just gets a little bit too much sauce on that one, goes over Michael and into the net. So it's Dotes with the lead, but Double Trouble has been battling back here. Now they have 35 seconds to find a tying goal. It's Michael trying to do it solo. Love the look here, and Fear the Nub has the wraparound, trying to keep the play alive. Just Solitude in net. Is Michael at that midfield line, just overestimating slightly. 20 seconds now remaining. Fear the Nub is going to get the touch, but Disbel has it right back with the clear into the blue side of the pitch. Even has the demo onto Michael. That will take him out of the play for the time being, but Fear the Nub floats that one on target. It's going to be Disbel taking that one away. It's off the crossbar. Solitude is hanging back on defense. He knows it is dire times, and with that one touching the grass, it's going to be Dotes with a 3-0 sweep.
Oh, and that's the type of series that if you are Double Trouble or even a fan of the game, you just wish there was one more opportunity for this team as they got better and better. But Dotes came out so strong, came out scoring goals on the back of Disbel. Oh my word, put up so many goals in this series. And even with Michael's valiant effort in the end, they unfortunately can't take a game here. But I would be careful if I was going to be any of the teams having to face Double Trouble again, because they are going to be absolutely looking for vengeance. And I could feel that in Michael's urgency in that game there. But unfortunately, we say it a lot, got to be able to come out strong in the very first game of the series. It's so crucial to set the tone and establish yourself early in these series. Otherwise, you're just playing from behind, and that's what Double Trouble found themselves really at the entirety of those 3 games.
And if you look at the scoreline, you can see that gap narrowing. Double Trouble was figuring it out. A rough start at 0-7, but then 2-4, and then a 1-2 loss. So like you said, if you have one more game there, I mean, that one's, getting over the hill, and they're starting to win. So, depending on how they do in that lower bracket, there's also the potential for a rematch in the grand finals. Of course, it's early days in the bracket to see if we do get that one, but I will say, if Double Trouble has that rematch against Dotes, I'm expecting the series to feel much more like game number 3 than game number 1. But Glitter Explosion, I know you've been waiting patiently in the wings, biting your nails along with me. What did you think of that first series?
You're already putting it into the universe that there's going to be a rematch?
Yeah.
You think that's how it's going to go?
Yeah.
We still have Whoopsies in the lower bracket, too.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You know what? It's probably because you feel very confident about your predictions so far with the performance that we just saw out of
It doesn't take a lot for me to feel overly confident, I will say. You give me one little, nugget there, and I'm going to run with it. So, I'm going to stick to my guns.
I mean, to be fair, like you guys both pointed out, they were coming back. It just wasn't fast enough. So, they still have the whole lower bracket. Whether you're going to consider that more time to warm up, refigure out your strategy, whatever it is, phenomenal performance out of Dotes. Disbel, unstoppable at some points. I mean, kind of what you had expected, right? They will move on now to the grand finals.
Yep.
So they are going to have the opportunity to discuss whatever they need to. And then when we look at the lower bracket, they'll be able to kind of scope out the competition a little bit.
Yeah, and to keep in mind of that series, Double Trouble, especially in game 2 and number 3, the entire series decided by bad luck mishaps for Double Trouble. You have one back pass that unfortunately goes a little bit over Michael, and then a similar situation in game number 2 that defined those series, or else they're tied and we're going to overtime. So something just to kind of tantalize the audience here, that if we do get that rematch, I'm going to call it like I see it. There was bad luck for Double Trouble throughout that entire series, and they played through it. So, I mean, if they get a couple calls their way, I think it's a totally different series.
I mean, not only that, but they did come into our grand finals as the top of that leaderboard.
Yeah.
I mean, they played phenomenally in every single one of our qualifiers. So they have the ability there. They have played all of these teams before at some point throughout one of the qualifiers.
Yep.
so they kind of knew what to expect. They watched everybody else play against each other if they weren't playing against them on that day. So there's lots of information that they're trying to download and then apply to their own game style, play style. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot.
It was a great way to start off the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay? Great way to start off the tournament.
I need a break.
You need a break?
Yeah, after that one?
Is that even allowed?
Can I call for that?
Is production, is he allowed to get a break? You know what? They said that it's totally fine, which means it's time for us to send it to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, our lower bracket finals will return.
Don't let anyone tell you there are things we cannot change. We've done hard things before. We'll face hard things again, but we're doing it. Thousands of people will live simply because a whole bunch of people in here keep making medicine better. So if anyone ever tells you there's no other way, don't listen. We find a way. Mount Sinai.
All right, everybody, welcome back from our quick break. Now, we had some really cool stuff happen before in our winners bracket. This is our Adaptive Esports tournament featuring Rocket League. Winners bracket, done. We know who's in the grand finals.
Yep.
Now, we are focusing down on the lower side of the bracket, and I feel like the exact story that you wanted to happen.
I wrote it.
It's here. It's occurring.
Yeah, so we're essentially kind of starting the bracket over, if you want to consider or looking at it that way. In that lower bracket final, it's going to be Whoopsies going up against Double Trouble again. And then, of course, in the top side, that went the distance to a game 3. These will be best of 5s again here on the lower side, so we'll have to see if history repeats itself. But the big thing is all these teams now have kind of played against each other at some point in time, so they're going to be able to potentially make those adjustments to kind of flip what happened earlier on in the bracket.
Yeah, and you know, Whoopsies obviously having to kind of claw their way back from that first round loss, making it all the way back to the lower bracket finals. Worst case scenario being the champions from last season in a third place finish. I mean, that's not terrible.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
If that's what happened. That's your prediction. That's your prediction.
That's my prediction, and it's not terrible, especially if you look at the prize pool distribution.
Yes.
It's tough to be upset with a top 3 finish, but I know, after interviewing these players, they're all gunning for that number 1 spot. It's not really about like the prize pool at all. It's all gunning for the first place finish. I think the one thing that stands out to me here in the semifinals there is even frequent Dr. Miles was able to take a game off of Whoopsies, which I wouldn't have expected going into it. So I don't know if that's just, again, them kind of getting gassed. They've played the most matches, I think, out of anyone.
That's true.
So whether that slowdown again starts to come into effect, I think that might be kind of the big thing for both Double Trouble and Whoopsies is they've had to play more matches than anyone at this point in time. So they really got to kind of dig deep and make sure their gameplay stays on point.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good matchup for sure. But like I said earlier, special day means special giveaways, okay? Exclamation point AET in chat for yet another opportunity to take home this awesome Logitech G peripheral bundle, okay? We're doing one more after this, so if you missed out on the first one, get in on this one, get in on the next one, and we'll make sure to remind you before that happens. But I don't want to hold this up too long, okay?
Sure.
Because the first one was intense, and I have to get into this next lower bracket one. I'm going to send it back on over to you guys.
Absolutely.
So let's just get it going.
All right, Samael, well, the baton has been passed to us to pick up here. Whoopsies versus Nubble Trouble, a match which we didn't technically see, but we saw the results of in the first match of the day on that bracket, of course, going in favor of Nubble Trouble 2-1. But here we have a best of 5 between these two teams. Any predictions on your end, or what do you think in the mindset of these teams are right now?
Well, I know for Whoopsies, they're definitely looking for that revenge. They've had a really rough bracket they've had to get through here just to get back to this point, and that's all because of Nubble Trouble and what they did in the very beginning of that upper. So yeah, I think for Whoopsies, they're looking for revenge. I'm not about to predict it. I'm just happy we've got this best of 5 more games to decide who goes up into that most grand of finals here. But I think I will just say this, Frank. I think we've got the best 3 teams left, and that's just really a testament to the consistency of these players.
Yeah, absolutely. These are kind of our standout teams, I think, for this season of AET. We'll have to see how this battle goes between, again, these two titans. It feels almost weird saying that Whoopsies is your, 8th place seed or finisher going into this one in the standings, because they were the previous season champions. But I mean, the way Nubble Trouble and Dotes have been playing, they've definitely got their work cut out for them if they want the redemption run to happen. So far here in our first game, it's been a pretty relentless back and forth. Both of these teams trying to get that offense started. Michael going to overshoot that one slightly, and same to Anturdy. Again, maybe some of this fatigue setting in as you see between these two squads, just kind of battling, getting their hands dirty, so to speak, and just trying to grind this one out. Tough little 50, going to stay in this blue side corner and attempt to clear this ball from Michael. Fear the Nub might try to get a little aggressive, but with that double commit from Whoopsies, he's going to swing back onto defense. Michael will get the intercept under net, but it's going to be challenged by Whoopsies. Nothing going to come from that, however. A tough little angle to try to make a play here, but potentially Anturdy looking for something. Going to get bumped a little bit. Michael going to get contested. That possession going to be swiped away. Can Fear the Nub sneak this one in? Does manage to sneak away that corner boost, so that might give Nubble Trouble a little bit of an offensive opportunity. It's going to be Michael looking for the pass to himself off that corner. Tries to get the double tap, but that post just in the way. Didn't have the momentum to get that one cleared out. Fear the Nub, a little bit of a light touch, but thankfully Michael is there to make sure that clear into the orange side up the pitch happens. Michael up for it. Ball will drop down. Fear the Nub not liking it too much, so he's going to back off, and it's Michael. The great rotation and save yet again. Somehow amazing both on offense and defense out of Nubble Trouble. I do think that's one of their big advantages if they can utilize it here. It's Michael's kind of flexibility in that position that he can play. And of course, he has that fantastic wingman in Fear the Nub, but not a great touch from Fear the Nub there. Almost sets up Anturdy. Not going to result in a goal, and Michael again with an amazing save. Wasn't sure if that one was going to connect with the crossbar, but Anturdy going to get sent all the way to the orange side along with the ball with that play from Nubble Trouble. There you got Fear the Nub just kind of running control around the map, making sure that Whoopsies is starved of some of that boost. Anturdy trying to make a play, no boost left in the tank. Going to slow down that shot, and Michael once again credited with the save. Now Anturdy still no boost, not able to get back on defense, but thankfully is in a great position to get that pinch and clear that ball away. So play will resume, continue at 0-0, a minute 45 left to play. That one also not going to roll in as Fear the Nub finally gets in on the defense, and it's going to be Michael transitioning into offense to get Nubble Trouble on the board.
And why not Michael with the way he's played in this game? But really, that was Fear the Nub. Uses the post to perfection to squirt that ball downfield. And Whoopsies maybe thinking entirely offense right there. They've got 8 shots, and you could tell they were really clenching down. But there was Michael on the transition, and it felt like actually that Whoopsies would be the one for me to get a transition goal if anyone was going to do that. But instead, it's Michael who is now doing everything. 1 goal, 6 saves. You mentioned how good he's been on defense, and really he's just been the man right now. And that's a lot what we've seen in the previous tournaments as well. He's really a highlight star player in a lot of those qualifiers, and he's been the star here.
Yeah, Michael really kind of showing us what he's made of, but Fear the Nub, of course, putting himself in those perfect positions time and time again, and results in a goal here. Not the greatest clear coming through from Whoopsies, so Fear the Nub going to be able to scoop that one and find the net for a nice little cushion going into our final minute of play here. We'll have to see if Whoopsies can get some offense going. It's Angry Bullfrog with a nice little touch, but Michael gonna be flying through yet again. There's Anthony at the midfield line, trying to keep this one in the blue side of the pitch. Looked like he was almost going for a demo there, but that one's not going to connect. And another miss from Angry Bullfrog is going to allow Fear the Nub to have an open shot on net yet again, as things just kind of falling apart for Whoopsies in this final minute.
Yeah, Fear the Nub really highlighting how much individual plays can be made in twos. There's just so much space to be had, and he makes the defense look bad right there. A nice pop over the final defender. And Fear the Nub with 2 goals now. Even though Michael's played so amazingly, we've got Fear the Nub right there. His wingman, like you said, and they have done a fabulous job of bouncing back in this series after going down into the lower. They have a lot to prove, and they have shown it here in this game 1. A really defiant game, and despite giving up so many shots, I can't believe we've got 10 shots on the other side for Whoopsies, but they're still looking for that first goal.
Yeah, Whoopsies, I mean, the offense is kind of there. It's cooking, it's simmering, it's in the pot. They just haven't served us the dish just yet. And unfortunately, time not on their side, as we have 10 seconds left to play here. And Double Trouble has possession of this ball. Might even get a cherry on top just to seal the deal away. And this one going to be touching down here shortly. And with that, Double Trouble looks to take game number 1. Ball is still up. I like the fight coming out of Whoopsies there, but it is going to be Double Trouble taking game number 1. It was a little bit of a stall for the first, 4 minutes, as both teams really tried to get things going, but in that final minute, both Michael and Fear the Nub able to find those goals and take that 3-0 win.
Yeah, and the pace was good right out the gate. There was not really any jockeying for position. We weren't seeing players trying to figure each other out. I think they know enough about their opponent at this point. They've seen enough. They've been watching when they're not playing. For Double Trouble, they've played a ton of teams so far. Obviously, they've already taken down Whoopsies, and they understand what it takes to beat this team. But yeah, that familiarity was clearly present on the field as we came out with a lot of pace. Really enjoyed that back and forth that you said in the first couple of minutes. And then just really some fortuitous strikes from Double Trouble, as it was Whoopsies who put up more shots, but 9 saves on the other side for Double Trouble, 6 from Michael. So just as good of a defensive effort for them as it was offense as well.
Yeah, and I think that bodes well, for Double Trouble. Kind of the looks they were showing us early on in that series is essentially how they needed to start that series against Dotes. And I think Michael maybe taking that one, to heart a little bit with just how he was playing, making sure he was back for those rotations, but also making sure he was that threat on the offensive end as well. So we'll have to see now going into our second game of this series. Can the previous season champs tie it up here, or are Double Trouble going to extend their lead in the series? It's a great little kickoff by Fear the Nub there. It even gets the bump, but ball is going to fall on the blue side of the pitch. It's a shot up and early, but Fear the Nub showing us he can get those saves as well. Unfortunately, a demo comes through. A double demo comes through. Fear the Nub finally spawned back in, trying to keep this ball out of Whoopsies' hands and let the teammates spawn in so they can get their offense going. But it was a great early look from Whoopsies there.
Oh yeah, based on those demos, as well as Angry Bullfrog, he's looking mad about that game 1 loss, and he's taking it out on the opponent. But even still, Double Trouble finding their shots. That was a really good look right there coming from Michael. Even though the shot not on, they maintain possession. But yeah, you love the change of strategy as well. We didn't see a ton of bumps or demos really from either team, and obviously anytime you can get those, you're going to get space on the field. Really good looks there from Whoopsies, but we're going to play on here scoreless. We're going back down the other way. Fear the Nub with a big clear downfield. Can Bullfrogs get back? He's up, but not there. Doesn't get the touch. It's down off the bar as the third defender there for Whoopsies comes in and saves the day.
Yeah, I will say at least Double Trouble kind of keeps that one alive to allow them to rotate back on defense, or else it was an open net for Whoopsies. It might have been an open net yet again, but of course, Michael is there. to get yet another save. And look at this fast transition, trying to catch Whoopsies off guard. It's another great look from Michael. Here comes Fear the Nub, up for it, unable to get the touch, but Michael's there with the bounce, potentially over the defender, but no, Anthony will be there for that save. Fear the Nub at the 50, gonna clear this one to the sidewall. It's a miss from Whoopsies. Fear the Nub, no boost in the tank, and that shot from Nubble Trouble gonna go just wide to remain tied at zeros. Here comes Fear the Nub yet again, not giving Whoopsies a moment to breathe, even with no boost left in the tank, trying to make that play. But here's Michael again, another great pinch off the sidewall. Not a great touch from Anthony, but will be enough to stop that shot attempt. Michael up on that one. It will bounce down off the ceiling, and with no boost, Michael's going to scramble back to try to fill up that tank so he can continue being that threat on both ends of the pitch. And it's another great takeaway from Michael. This time it's Whoopsies up for it, but Fear the Nub yet again there for the save. Nubble Trouble putting in that work on both sides to see if they can get something started, but it's Whoopsies continuing to try to make these plays, get these shots on net. But the Nubble Trouble defense has been so good. That's a potential big power play with that demo. Fear the Nub going to be on respawn for a few moments. Michael doing his best to get the save. Oh, and the block, but Anthony able to follow that one up and get Whoopsies on the board first.
What a dunk here. Fear the Nub on the goal line. Anthony says no, not happening. The first big play really we've seen come out of Anthony, and what a time to do it, giving Whoopsies that lead. And that was just an absolute stuff on the goal line. And that's what Whoopsies needed. They needed a big play. They were playing a lot more defense in this game. Oh, man, that's another big play. Yep. Bullfrogs keeps it out. How does he keep it out? Now we're back downfield. It's going in the other way. Whoopsies 2-0.
Yeah, just nice recognition from Whoopsies there. An angry Bullfrog Anthony taking this one away. Almost checks that defender to make sure they weren't able to get that wrap. Looking for the bump if he needed to, but doesn't, as the open net stays open for Whoopsies to take the 2-0 lead. See now how Nubble Trouble responds. Statistically speaking, they do have a tough time playing from behind. Can they recover here? Turn things around for the team? We will have to see. So far, it's them with possession on Whoopsies' side of the pitch, but Whoopsies is in this transition. You've got Bullfrog waiting in the wings. The shot is up. They try to get the bicycle kick into the net, but it's a slow down, the pump fake, and angry Bullfrog able to follow up with the goal.
And yet again, it's Anthony with these 50 wins on the goal line. What a play. He's got no boost, just waits it out, wins it perfectly across, and there's angry Bullfrogs. The pressure just mounting here for Nubble Trouble. They had started so good. Michael cruising around the field. Fear the Nub playing phenomenal defense, but Whoopsies just wait them out, use the aggression against them, and now they have striked back multiple times here. And it is looking dire all of a sudden for Nubble Trouble. This went from an even contest to Whoopsies finding goals and finding field position.
Yeah, quite literally a taste of their own medicine. Nubble Trouble being forced to swallow here as the 3-0 lead is held by Whoopsies, and it really feels like Whoopsies almost changed the station from classical to jazz in the way they were approaching their offense. In that game number one, they're looking very structured, looking for these passing plays, looking for traditional plays, but now they're kind of like saying, hey, whatever works. If the ball goes in the net, it counts either way, and that's given them some success here. But finally, Nubble Trouble able to get on the board with 43 seconds left to play. It's within the realm of possibility, but Nubble Trouble is really going to have to play perfect here.
Yeah, and you got to make plays when plays are available to you. You see Fear the Nub right there, has some time and space, chips the ball up out of the reach of the defender so he can go up and get it. It's a phenomenal effort and a phenomenal assist there to allow Michael for an easy tap in. But yeah, they've got to keep it going right now. 30 seconds, 2 goals still just to potentially get it tied. Oh, that's a good look from Fear the Nub, but the shot just not there. We've seen that as well in this game. A lot of good looks for Nubble Trouble, but the shot accuracy at times has let them down. Feels like that's the difference maker right now, as instead they're back downfield and they have got to go push upfield, and they need a miracle. Here it is, Fear the Nub. He's got Michael as well, but that may do it, as the miss at midfield will force the reset, force them back, and this may be it in this game right now, as Whoopsies have responded. They have tied up this best of 5, 1-1.
Yeah, a really nice response from Whoopsies as well. A nice little adjustment in their gameplay, I think. Just kind of throwing a changeup at Double Trouble, and it really does work out for them there. So, yeah, kind of an interesting stat distribution, much more even across the board versus like the lopsided shot attempts but not having goals. And then, Double Trouble kind of catches that bug where some of those shots that were seemingly open going just a bit wide. I do think Double Trouble might have just not been looking to be a threat. It almost felt like on some of those plays they were looking just to be in a position, but not necessarily looking for the potential to kind of get those shot opportunities in, and that kind of led to some of those shots going wide.
Yeah, it's all about finding that moment to switch from the possession game plan to now we're going to fire shots on net. And sometimes you've got to do that. You've got to make the opponent make saves. And even though we saw Double Trouble with a ton of possession, you said it, when push comes to shove, the accuracy wasn't there on the shots. And maybe it was just a choice of not necessarily knowing when they were going to take those shots as well. But hand it to Whoopsies because they hung in that game. They stuck with it, and they got some goals off of transition. Maybe the pressure from Double Trouble was a little bit too much as Whoopsies were able to strike back. And boy, did they look different once they got that lead. That was like a whole nother team on the field there, as it was 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. Before we knew it, that game was over.
Yeah, it really felt like kind of like a confidence booster almost for Whoopsies because, like we've been saying, narratively, they're the previous season champions. They only had the opportunity to play the LCQ. I know, talking with the team, they were stressed about that because they were in a do or die situation. And now in that lower bracket, they're kind of faced with the same challenge right now, facing elimination and Double Trouble moving on to the grand finals. So they're no stranger of this situation, but I'm sure being in that situation is by nature exhausting. But I like the adjustments we saw in Game 2 out of Whoopsies, kind of foregoing needing clean play and just kind of getting scrappy under the net and taking whatever comes their way. And I think in effect caught Double Trouble off guard, where game number 1 was much more clean, much more streamlined, much more predictable. And in game number 2, Whoopsies kind of, threw them for a loop with their decision making. We'll have to see what they go with here in game number 3 of this series. But only time will tell as these two teams continue to battle back and forth. That from Michael, going to go off the backboard, and Fear the Nub able to swing through and find the net.
A really good play by Michael as well. Doesn't have any boost, has to contort his car up near the ceiling just to get that play on net. I love that he just fires it on like we mentioned, utilizing the backboard. Again, if nobody's there to defend it, that backboard is your best friend as it will set you up all day. And that's exactly what Michael does right there. Fear the Nub also getting involved. I really like that Michael's been a little bit more reserved in this game. Maybe a little unwieldy there in the first couple. Instead, more of a balanced attack here from Michael and Fear the Nub and Double Trouble. And a really good look there, getting them their first goal. And we'll see if they can build on that as well, as there's been not too many lead changes so far in this series. Teams that get the lead usually can stick with them really in both of the series that we've seen so far. And we know how comfortable it is to play with that lead. We're seeing it right here for Double Trouble as they just rotate back, safe play, wait it out, and allow themselves to keep possession.
Yeah, just kind of nice looks on both ends, but I do like how Whoopsies is kind of, just getting a little scrappy out there, a little bit more physical. Here comes Fear the Nub trying to clear this one. Gets it by 2 defenders, but the bump comes through. Great little look from Angry Bullfrog to slow down that play. Here we have Michael trying to make a play up off the ceiling, but you got Antrady already rotating back on defense, and Angry Bullfrog showing no fear with the shot attempt. Fear the Nub thankfully getting that save as Double Trouble remains up 1-0 here as we approach the halfway marker. Game number 3. So far, both of these teams battling back and forth yet again. This one, potential to find the net, but with that one slowing down, you see both members of Whoopsie just abandoning that play. Weren't really feeling it, so they're going to reset their offense. Antrady now at the midfield line is going to have a little bit of a battle. This one goes to the orange corner. Antrady not really getting a great clear here. That means Angry Bullfrog has an opportunity to square up on net. And unfortunately, with that touch goes away of Whoopsies on offense. Can Michael convert it, though? Does have the shot attempt, but again, that one just going to be slightly off target. So now Whoopsies having an opportunity to make up the difference. Here you see Angry Bullfrog trying to contest, got Fear the Nub waiting on the midfield line, just trying to fight against some of these Whoopsies transitions. This one, a little bit of a light touch. Trying to just allow for Michael to get into position on this play. Both teams kind of in a standoff scenario. Double Trouble not wanting to allow Whoopsies to get the tying goal, but trying to keep their offense going at the same time is kind of leading to this slowdown we've seen between these two teams. And it's another unfortunate shot going to go wide for Double Trouble. When you're in this scenario, only up 1 goal with 1:30 left to play, so heartbreaking when those easy shots, get more and more difficult. And just like that, the net is going to open up for Whoopsies and we'll be tied at 1.
And that's the sort of moment that now we'll all be thinking about. That Double Trouble will have that in the back of their minds as we move forward in this game. The final moments of game number 3, if they score there, go up 2-0. That moment probably doesn't even happen. They got a big 2-0 lead. They can just sort of coast and play like they have, but instead they got to get back in this. They have been somewhat lackadaisical, but it's been working out for them as their patient play so far has been the right style. But you see one miss in the corner and it's in their net, and they got to go back to the drawing board. They got to find a way to get another goal on the board. They're not going to win this with just the one.
Yeah, it's kind of like that 1 goal kind of paradox where you're up 1, you're okay, but by nature of you slowing it down, it almost allows the opponent to catch back up. It's always such a tough tightrope to walk here, especially in Rocket League, but for the time being, we're staying tied at 1. Whoopsies does have possession on the blue side of the field, and it's Double Trouble desperately trying to contest. Michael up off the ceiling, not going to be able to help with this one, but the post is going to help in the defense. Michael thrown off, but he's thankfully right in the way of that shot. The save will come through for Double Trouble, and will stay tied at 1.
Oh man, that was close there as Double Trouble somehow keep that out. And Michael with the good goal line positioning, you mentioned it, and here we go, it's back down the other way. Fear the Nub gonna find an open net with just 11 seconds to go. It's a quick transition after the play from Anthony to the center of the field. He would have liked a better touch there for sure. And he's not gonna get it back though, as they're looking to get that goal back. Now, Double Trouble, they were kind of gifted that one, but they're going to take it, I'm sure. And they're hopefully going to get this win if you ask them, as they've got now 7 seconds just to hold on in a game that has been all over the place. The narrative sort of writing itself here at this point, and this ball, if Fear the Nub just lets it drop, there it is. Wow. That looked like Whoopsies was about to get back in this game, and then just no, it was over just like that.
And that's really what I kind of love about Rocket League. For every, fancy aerial out of Michael, Anthony or Disbel, there's a Fear the Nub who just knows how to position himself, right place, right time, to get those easy shots on net. And, that's part of the game as well. So just a great heads-up play, I think, there from Double Trouble. And, fortune kind of falling their way, I think, finally here in this bracket. But a great performance out of both sides. Definitely could have gone to overtime, and this one I think continues to be really neck and neck between these two teams.
Yeah, as I was thinking about the way that game was going, it felt like to me Double Trouble had a lot of opportunity to extend that lead, as there was a lot of respect being given from Whoopsies. They backed off. There was a moment that you recalled, both players just completely just reversed out of the play.
They just said no.
Back into their end. They said, no, we're out of here, so there were moments like that, I think, for Double Trouble. They could have taken real advantage, but now I kind of feel like those moments are gone. Whoopsies got that goal, even though they didn't get the win. It feels like now they're going to play a little bit more quick, and I think they can't respect Double Trouble quite as much as they have. You got to be able to challenge. You got to get up and make plays. That's really the thing for me as Whoopsies go forward. Do they step up and try to put their own pace, their own spin on this match?
Yeah, and it's almost like this weird kind of aversion to them avoiding what worked so well in game number 2, and that was really kind of throwing off the Double Trouble defense close under net, making them uncomfortable in kind of defensive positions they hadn't been in before. And when you have these standard passing plays looking for, shots around the key, Double Trouble is anticipating those. It was off the rebound that Whoopsies really had these great opportunities and took advantage advantage of them in game number 2, but they've seemed to kind of fall back into that more traditional style, not really taking notes from that second game. We'll have to see if things change here, as it will be Whoopsies up on the board early with Angry Bullfrogs. Credit for that first one.
Yeah, and there's that aggression. I mean, even though they're coming out of their own end, it's a setup play from Anthony right on the tape to Bullfrogs, and he is not afraid to step up and take that chance. And you love to see that, because if that goes wrong, that's probably going to be a goal against. This is going to be a goal against off the kickoff, as Fear the Nub able to get that goal right back. But still, just to talk about that play from Whoopsies, I like the fact that they went for that. It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward type of play. And even though we see that lead evaporate on them off the kickoff, it's definitely a good sign of a much more competitive style to keep them in this series.
Yeah, for sure. And, just Fortune, again, kind of finally finding Nubble trouble there as they're able to tie it up with that early kickoff goal. But that squares things away here in game number 4. And Anthony getting payback for the gift that Nubble Trouble opened. They take the lead right back.
Yeah, and we've seen these plays in the center of the field. It's so crucial, especially in twos. I mean, you're leaving your teammate out to dry if you put passes to the center of the field right. That one missed touch, and it ends up being a 1v2 back the other way. And Anthony had his choice of shots right there, perfectly placed into the upper 90. And now Whoopsies make sure to defend well off of the kickoff, something they regretted after their first goal. They do manage to keep that kickoff safe and keep things in their favor. And they're going to play with the lead now, which is a really good spot to be in, but still a ton of game to play here and a ton of time for Nubble Trouble to find offense.
Yeah, and you can almost kind of see the fatigue setting in on some of these plays. Michael just maybe not as much pep in his step on some of those shot attempts that we've previously seen out of him, and that kind of allows Whoopsies to have an opportunity there. Thankfully, Michael does manage to rotate back on defense, but Anthony is sticking with this play, trying to keep this one alive, pass it on over to the teammate. This one's going to stay in the corner. The rotation will happen back for Whoopsies for some of that boost. We'll have to see. It's a great 50 going the way of Nubble Trouble, sending that one into the orange side of the pitch. It's a shot attempt, but it's a demo onto Fear the Nub, and it's a save from Angry Bullfrog. Michael up and at it, trying to get the passing play off the backboard, forces Fear the Nub to rotate to that sidewall. Now Fear the Nub has to hustle back on defense, but thankfully Michael is there yet again to be that unstoppable force underneath the net. That'll keep Whoopsies from scoring yet another goal, and there is Michael still at it with those rotations. The seat, Angry Bullfrog does manage to sneak away that boost, but looks like the clear will happen to give Nubble Trouble a brief moment of breathing room before Angry Bullfrogs picks this one right back up. He's got possession. It's Fear the Nub with a nice little tap to get that one out of his hands and slow down the Whoopsies offense. And there we have that patented double rotate back from Whoopsies, when really they might have had an opportunity there, when really Nubble Trouble looks for those transitions. I think if Whoopsies starts to cheat up a little bit more onto that midfield line, they'll at least be able to maintain some of that possession. But for the time being, they're able to maintain this 1-goal lead, and Nubble Trouble desperately looking for the tie here. They need to have something happen. We're under 2 minutes left to play in this game 4. And again, Whoopsies facing elimination with a potential Nubble Trouble win here, but they do have this lead to try and force that game 5. So dire straits for both of these teams. Fear the Nub up, but does run out of boost, so has to come back down from that little trip. And Michael trying to find something here, but gets stuck upside down near that ceiling. So Fear the Nub desperately rotating back, trying to get this clear. It's a slow landing for him, so potential opportunity for Whoopsies, and Anthony going to be able to float that one in to extend the lead to 2.
Good ups there from Anthony. Gets up in a hurry there. Recognized the ball off the wall so quickly. What a read. Able to get up and fire that home. No hesitation there from Anthony. And again, on the offensive side of the ball, there have been chances taken from Whoopsies that have immediately paid off for them. But oh man, off the kickoff yet again, that looked dangerous. But Angry Bullfrogs gets over, makes the save, and they yet again keep their lead intact. They've got a 2-goal lead now. That's huge. Despite Nubble Trouble looking really good in this game, there have just been moments for Whoopsies to step up and make plays. They've bided their time. They've gotten it done when they've gotten chances, and that's something that we can't necessarily say for Double Trouble, as their shot accuracy still is struggling. They've got 8 shots on the board, only 1 goal to show for it, and they're going to have to play back down from their end down in this game.
Yeah, and they desperately need kind of to get online here with that offense as time is not on their side, trailing by 2, and Whoopsies just managing to stay with this offense. Almost another goal going to connect for Whoopsies, but that one will be able to be swooped through by Double Trouble as they fight to try to get this clear yet again. But Whoopsies essentially has accomplished the task of running down that clock, and for all intent, well, that'll be it. I was going to say, for all intents and purposes, another goal from Anthony will definitely seal the deal here on game number 4, and we'll be going to a game 5 in this elimination final, unless Double Trouble can average, a goal every 2 seconds here in our final 9 of regulation play.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Easy peasy. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. 6 seconds just ticked away, and that's not going to happen, is it? No, we're going to game number 5. What a play and game here from Anthony. He really stepped up and started to make some big plays and some big moments, especially that one right there in the end. I mean, we saw Double Trouble were trying to make something happen. It was a double commit, but it was really an attempt at a pinch there at mid, and Anthony just stepped up and said, no, not going to happen. Got 100% goal participation, the 3 goals on the board for the hat trick, and a nice 4-save effort as well to add on top. So Anthony really looking like a lot of these players at times who really step up and start to just put everybody back, put everyone on blast, and they say, hey, take note, I can make plays. We know that Anthony can do that as well. We know that both Michael and Fear the Nub can do that. We've seen them do that previously, and I know we're going to see a lot of big plays here as we go into game number 5, and all bets off here in game 5 in the lower.
Yeah, game number 5, both of these teams needing to win this one so that they aren't eliminated, will move on to the grand finals, whoever comes out on top here. But yeah, it really is kind of looking at these, we'll call them point men of the rosters, right? You have kind of Anthony and then Michael leading those offensive charges, but it really seems like who is going to get in their flow state during the game. It is really what's deciding these ones. In that game number 3, it was Michael kind of finding that defensive zone, just eliminating all these shot attempts from Whoopsies, and then it's almost the exact inverse in that game number 4, and I'm ready to see what treats game number 5 here in the elimination finals hold as we get into this one. Again, do or die time for both of these teams in the bracket. Who will be moving on to face Dotes in the grand final? We will find out in 5 short minutes. It's Michael with the takeaway, but Angry Bullfrog on the rotation will get credit for the save. Trying to get some offense started, and Double Trouble now looking for the clear. A little bit of a sloppy clear from them, but thankfully Whoopsies not ready to pounce on that play. So they'll have a little bit of forgiveness here and manage to transition that one from downtown. Fear the Nub gonna find the net.
Oh, we see Anthony just a little too late to that play. Angry Bullfrogs with a good pop, good setup, and unfortunately, Fear the Nub doesn't have to go up and have to do much with it. Instead, it's a challenge at mid, and it's just the perfect time to step up and take it away for Fear the Nub right there. What a steal and what a play. What looked like he was facing a goal against instead is a goal for, and those sorts of plays, I tell you what, they just make all the difference in these games, these tight series like we see right now, as at any moment, any one goal could be the difference maker.
I was quite literally going to say, I'm pretty sure each Double Trouble win has come off the back of Fear the Nub scoring just one of those kind of basic positioning goals where he just sends it towards Whoopsie's net and it goes in. So that could be fortuitous here for Double Trouble, but again, only time will tell, as we still have just about 4 minutes left to play. Some heavy bumps coming through. The auto insurance salesman kind of licking their lips at the physicality being shown here, and it's Angry Bullfrogs going to be the beneficiary of that.
Man, we see it's slow time back for the blue side. They're really at the mercy of the choice there coming from Antrady. He goes up off the backboard yet again. No one there. That means it's a play in your favor, and Whoopsies take full advantage of that. They get the goal. Angry Bullfrogs with the follow. We've seen a lot of rebound opportunities from both of these teams, and they are cashing in on those almost every single time, especially in the later stages of this series. And you can see both teams come into play, but oh no, that's a dastardly bump there as both Angry Bullfrogs and Antrady come together, but the recovery from Antrady looking good. Slick out there, keeps the recovery intact, and also finds a play out of it downfield as well.
Yeah, Antrady even almost getting that double tap too to try to sneak it by both of Double Trouble. Would have been disgusting, but thankfully the defense managed to stand tall, and it's a great another shot attempt from Fear the Nub. He's finding his offensive flow at the perfect time here in Game 5 of our elimination final.
Oh, and Michael, I don't know if he meant to do that. That was just a little juke as he faked out Angry Bullfrogs, who had to respect that Michael could have taken that shot. So he respects that, but Michael backs out, allows Fear the Nub to respond on the rebound. Great play overall from Michael and Fear the Nub. You'll love that team cohesion as they are in each other's ear and comms, I'm sure, making sure that they do everything as best as they possibly can. And we're seeing both teams really just grind it outright here. Not a ton of skilled goals, but there's not a lot of room for it.
Yeah, and great little pickup by Fear the Nub on that play. Also taking some of that boost away as he was on that transition to offense. Really slowed down Whoopsies being able to kind of get anything started once they had secured possession of that ball. So it's all of these little things now starting to make all the difference in this Game 5. Michael now at midfield looking for an attempt. Has this one sent over to the orange corner. Fear the Nub now, recognizing this play, transitioning, will get in position for defense. What has Whoopsies got for us? Fear the Nub is up, able to send this one off course. Now Michael, able to get a nice little clear. This one might even be on target as he's able to get the follow-up off the backboard and secure yet another goal.
Big boom there from Michael up off the backboard. Angry Bullfrog can't get the read. We've seen struggles on both sides with the backboard reads tonight, and they've led to goals so frequently. Yet another one there, and really a great play there from Michael. Good decision just to fire that on, get the ball downfield, get some field position. You've got the lead as well. What could go wrong? A lot can go right, and we see it right there. A 2-goal lead now here for Double Trouble as they want that upper. They want to go back into the upper. They want the grand finals. They want their chance at that $6,500 grand prize. And I know Whoopsies do as well, so you can expect this final minute 30 going to be nothing but bedlam out there.
Yeah, this is going to get intense. You see Whoopsies have been able to kind of get that offense 10% of the way there, but it's Double Trouble recognizing that the faster they can intercept and get those clears, the better position they've been into on their rotations. And now we see them just trying to boom that ball downfield. Whoopsies desperately trying to get something started. They need 2 goals in a minute 10. It's a better situation than game number 4 was for Double Trouble. So this one a little bit more in the realm of possibility, but Double Trouble has been doing such a good job of breaking up these plays, but the demo, the shot gonna be just wide. He's got no boost. Angry Bullfrog and a huge bump gonna deny that goal.
Oh, just a little too slow and allowing the defense to get back, and the defense makes a play on the goal line, takes it away, but now we're back to the goal line. This time, Angry Bullfrogs makes no mistake. It's Antrady helping to set it up in the corner. We see the defender can't catch up, and what a play, what a feed. Angry Bullfrogs there to receive.
We have got a game on our hands here. Whoopsies finding that goal they desperately needed to make that tie seem all the more doable. Now it's a slow start off this kickoff. Both teams kind of understandably timid as this one is down to a red wire, blue wire scenario for both of the squads. We'll have to see how it pans out. Antrady does have possession, but it's Michael with the steal, going to clear this one towards the orange net. This one's almost dead in front, but Double Trouble just opting to stay back on defense. Potential big miss here as Angry Bullfrog is up, but Fear the Nub does have the touch to divert that shot. Antrady trying to keep the play alive. We've got 2 seconds left. Ball is still up. It's in the hands of Michael. Anthony keeps it up, but that one will touch down, and it will be Double Trouble in a Game 5 victory, moving on to the grand final.
Back and forth we went, not just in these games, but the entirety of this series as the teams exchanged wins. What a series it was. We see our best so far and our first Game 5 of the night as well. Man, I feel a little bit bad for Whoopsies. The previous champion has now been dethroned. We will have a new champion as Double Trouble goes back into the upper, and they're looking for some redemption right now. I gotta say, just to talk a little bit, I think about Michael is going to be kind of where I'm at, because Michael came out so quick in that game. He was flying everywhere. A big reason they came out and struck first in Game 1. As we saw both offense and defense, Michael was everywhere. But I think in Game 2, it almost felt like he's trying to do a little bit too much. And sometimes you get that mojo going a little bit, and next thing you know, you're looking around like, wait, where am I? You know, so I got to hand it to Michael for making those adjustments to help get his teammate more involved in the play, as Fear the Nub really started to make some big plays late in this series, and I hand it really to both of those guys to find out that balance of what worked best for them.
Yeah, I do think it was kind of like you have this, we'll call it the Dotes effect, right? Where they have this really great strategy that works for them, where Disbel kind of goes off on offense and Solitude hangs back on defense. And I feel like some of these teams tried to emulate that strategy, but Double Trouble's strength throughout the season has always been the teamwork and the passing plays, and that they're both so flexible. They finally kind of brought it back home, back to the beginning, what made them so successful as a team, and that's neither one of them being afraid to take shots or play defense. And I think that's why they were able to finish so strong and close out that series. But I do want to say, I think no matter what the result of that series was, the winner might be Dotes, because both of them have to be exhausted going through to that Game 5. So if you're Dotes kind of waiting in grand finals, you're kind of like, you know, these teams are tired. We might have an advantage here going into it.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I mean, a ton of lower bracket games. We see the Game 5 as well, and really they had to grind that out too. That was not an easy win, and now they're gonna have to jump right back in. Not a whole lot of time. They're probably happy that we're stalling a little bit for them, so we can give them a little bit of a breathing room, a little bit of a breather. But yeah, I think that's entirely fair. And don't forget the game in hand as well that Dotes are gonna have to start this series too. So there's a lot against this Michael Fear the Nub team. But if anyone's going to be able to do it, I know that it's going to be them. But I got to say, I do think we got the best two teams left, Frank, and so I'm just ready for it. I'm going to stop talking because I'm ready to get into the finals.
I'm ready too, so I'm going to check in with Glitter Explosion, see what she thought about that series. I think, you know, the big takeaway here is if you missed the start of the broadcast, you got essentially a rebroadcast in the middle with all the rematches we have lined up now.
No, the big takeaway for me was the fact that you had an S-tier sleeper pun about an auto insurance salesman in that cast, and I loved everything about that. That was amazing.
Thank you.
To put that out there. But I mean, you really can't get a better lower bracket finals than that. The defending champs versus number 1 seed coming into the entire thing. Like you said, if we didn't get to watch it, we watched it play out even better,
right?
Even closer, more
with
spectacularly
more
this time around. So well earned by both of those teams. And you guys talked about it. There is a little bit of burnout possibility that's now going to happen, plus that additional game that Samantha was talking about heading into grand finals that's going to be on top of Dotes, which is already, we know how insanely strong and aggressive Dotes is. The fact that they have yet another advantage is going to be a tough mountain to climb for Double Trouble, but I think it's going to be really fun.
But essentially, you know, that's at this point kind of Double Trouble's MO is taking on the insurmountable, because they started off, like we mentioned, just by nature of the way things shook out. The previous season champions qualify for the LCQ. Double Trouble having, you know, been tried and true regulars with AET, they're and winning events. They're at the top of the leaderboard, and they're thinking number 1 seed, like that's supposed to be an advantage. We're going up against the 8th seed.
Right.
But the 8th seed just happens to be the previous season's champions. They take that to a Game 3. Now they rematch the champions. And they take that to a Game 5. So I mean, the thing about Double Trouble is apparently you can never count them out. They had a little bit of a rough showing against Dotes, but now they know what to expect. We've seen what they can do with an extended series with more games. So, by all nature, you could consider this a continuation from that, winners final. So I think you can't count Double Trouble out, but it is tough with all the advantages Dotes have right now going into that grand finals match.
100%. I mean, hopefully it'll be a short rest. Hopefully it's enough.
The longer we talk,
of a rest, right? Yeah,
the more break they get. So this is really, I'm done talking because my prediction was Dotes, but if you'd like to continue, you can kind of give Double Trouble an advantage.
Listen, I might be a little bit biased because you're the nub and we're friends now. So, I'll hang out here for as long as we need to. I will drag this on. You guys
You're filibustering the broadcast right now?
Let me
That's
tell
crazy.
you about... No, we're not going to do that. We are going to send it to another quick break before we get to the grand final so our players can rest and reset a little bit before all of our action kicks off, so don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome back to the season finals of our Adaptive Esports tournaments, and it is now time for the grand finals of our season finals, Frank, and so far today, it has been incredibly exciting.
Yeah, a lot of these narratives kind of playing out in super interesting ways. Of course, you have, Double Trouble kind of not upsetting, but going up against a really tough opponent, which was last season's champions in their first match, battling all the way back through the lower bracket, falling to Dotes, and then having a rematch opportunity now in the grand finals is kind of a crazy story and a long day of matches if you're Double Trouble, but they've been persevering. I think that's kind of their number one quality right now is they've been able to find these wins kind of despite all odds. So it's going to be even more of an uphill battle now in the grand finals. It will be a best of 7, but because Dotes remained in that upper bracket, they will have a 1-game advantage. So where Double Trouble will have to win 4 games here, Dotes will only have to win 3.
Yeah, so it is not going to be easy. It's been a well-fought battle so far. The two teams that are now in the grand finals are very deserving to be here. I mean, they were our top 1 and 2 the entire season so far. They played phenomenally the entire time, and I think, while Whoopsies had a phenomenal performance, they came in qualified through the LCQ, so they just didn't have as many reps.
The reps
under their belt.
Yeah, it's really kind of what it started to feel like at the end. And I'm sure, they had mentioned that they were watching the events and kind of recognizing the competition and doing some watching game film essentially. But the real issue is getting on the field against these players, because the competition continues to evolve and the players are continuing to get better and better, and it's really come to a head here with this grand finals, and it is the two teams who have been putting in the most time that are kind of being rewarded for it now. So feels pretty fitting going into the grand finals here.
Absolutely. And they've got to be happy with that third place finish as well. And here is your third opportunity, chat, for the giveaway. All right, one final time, !AET in chat for your opportunity to win this amazing Logitech G peripheral bundle. All of this equipment is super nice and swanky, so definitely try to get in there and see if you can win one more time of the show before we kick things off with our grand finals, because this one is going to be a treat. It's going to be a long one too, so I hope you and Samael are ready.
I am certainly ready to get into this one. Samael, I know you're ready. You were born ready. I've never known you to not be ready.
I don't get up from this chair ever. I'm here in my Logitech headset. I'm ready for the call. I'm ready for everyone to just reach out and say, hey, we're going to do some more Rocket League. Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready.
Yeah, you're constantly in a state of preparedness, and now we're going to see which team prepared better for the grand finals between Dotes and Double Trouble. I know that Dotes was my pocket pick, my kind of favorite going into this one. They've done well for me so far, which is a shock to me, as I'm sure it is to you, and now we're going to see which one of us gets to be right, I guess, at the end of the day.
This is crazy right now. I feel like I have to go Double Trouble. We got to get the caster vendettas going on too around
Absolutely.
here. There's a lot to prove for everyone here. And Frank, if you can get this right, saying Dote's coming in, that was before we even played any matches tonight. So I would be extremely impressed. They certainly could do it. They've got that game in hand, like we said.
This makes sense.
Michael's good too.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we talked about Double Trouble needing to do in the first series they played against Dotes, and that was get on the board early. Make Dotes have to play into you, and Double Trouble has done exactly that. Now, Dotes being on that back foot will, of course, be looking towards Disbel to get that play started, but Double Trouble, yet again, making those adjustments. A great bump from that aerial play, going to come through and slow down Dotes. And now you have Solitude seemingly out of position, or an uncharacteristic position for him, as he was cheated up on that offensive side, and a little bit of a miscommunication coming through there. Disbel and Solitude bumping bumpers, but a pass play will center up that ball on net. But Solitude just taking this one slow, opting to ensure the defense is in position to slow down Double Trouble, and will let Disbel try to make a play. But we've seen this out of Michael all previous series, but what we haven't seen is the interception from Disbel and the shot right on net.
Yeah, what a play. The first follow just to win that 50, and then right there, right place, right time, up in the air to get the redirect. What a redirect it was. You love that Disbel can just take plays and make them out of nowhere, as before Double Trouble knew it, that ball was in the back of their net, and we saw an attempt at a quick recovery, but the look just wasn't there, and that's what Disbel brings to the table. He's already got 3 shots. We know that if Double Trouble are going to win this series, they're going to have to neutralize Disbel. There's no doubt about it. That's a big demo, and it's easy for Disbel. Just has to go up and get it, as Solitude takes out Michael. And oh my, if they start throwing that into the mix, look out.
Yeah, that's kind of what's been scary about Dotes, is they continue to show us new stuff, even a game into the season finals grand final. They're throwing new looks, new plays, and here's Disbel being forced back on to defense. And yet again, keep in mind, Dotes is technically, since they came through that winner's side of the bracket, they're up a game in this best of 7, and Disbel taking matters into his own hands, getting that hat trick early on.
Oh man, if it's up to Disbel, they're going to be up more than just that one, as they're up 2 goals. They got the 3-1, and it's all Disbel right now. He's got 3 goals, got the hat trick. Solitude doing a great job, but it's not showing up on the scoreboard. Just 10 points right now. 12, got a touch on the ball there, but still, man, Disbel just absolutely doing it to the defense of Double Trouble, and it's really on the back of some monster 50 wins. A couple of 50 wins that led immediately to chances. He goes and follows, gets his own chance off of the 50 wins. And honestly, that is so deadly when you can do that. And here's another as well, as we see the defense staring him down. It's Michael. He can't press up on this play, has to shadow back, but that gives Disbel so many options. And even though Michael gets a touch, it's 4-1 Dotes.
Yeah, and that's kind of the difference with what we saw out of Double Trouble earlier, just able to get those shots accurately, playing inside versus outside of that post, and that accuracy out of Disbel really just being put on display here, almost getting a disgusting double bump into the dunk to get a 5-1 lead, but Dotes will remain in the 4-1 lead here as we're not even halfway through this game. That is a benefit potentially for Double Trouble as they're now trying to get things started, getting this ball off that backboard, but Solitude coming out of net to get involved on the offensive side of the pitch and get a little demo on to Fear the Nub. Disbel will rotate back onto defense, pick up a full tank of boost on his way, and he's looking to go to work here, trying to get the flip reset. Drops that one down, and Fear the Nub is in a great position to stop that. And a great little clear from Double Trouble, but Disbel, of course, on that rotation. Michael will come in, tries to center this one up for Fear the Nub. Play is still alive, trying to drop that one in, but Michael will remain cautious. Tries to get the interception at the midfield marker, but not going to be able to connect. So it's Disbel able to connect from midfield to put Dotes up 5-1.
5 goals for Disbel. If you looked at the scoreboard, you'd think it's just Disbel carrying, but it's plays like that from Solitude as well. He was forward and goes for the bump, doesn't get a touch on the defender, but forces him off the play, and there's nothing on the scoreboard that's going to show up for Solitude on that, but that play leads directly to another goal. We've seen that twice already from Solitude as he's making these plays happen at times, even if the Rocket League score system doesn't necessarily see it. They are going to see this, though. That's going bar down. 6-1. Solitude gets on the board.
Yeah, Solitude getting some credit here, but like you said, it's kind of those positioning plays and getting those key bumps and all the other kind of dirty work that Solitude has been putting in allows Disbel to take advantage and have that presence on offense. Finally, a little bit of answer back here. Double Trouble has been kind of making these adjustments, but it's just Disbel kind of taking it coast to coast and exploiting all those little openings in Double Trouble's defense. It was a good start. Like we mentioned, they kind of got off to that early lead like they needed to, but then almost like they got complacent. Like, oh, we did the thing, but they needed to continue that thing, and Dotes has taken severe advantage of those little lax moments in Double Trouble's play. This one centered up will be cleared away. Michael in possession, no boost. Disbel with the steal, has Solitude with the backup, but that will mean they both have to hurry back onto defense. Fear the Nub trying to make a play and will be able to secure the second goal for Double Trouble as they try to claw their way back into this game.
And even though I usually don't take a lot of stock in late goals like this in games that are really already out of hand, I hand it to Double Trouble for really keeping their compete level high. They're going to need that. It's still early in this series. Even though they're probably going to lose this game, they've got to make sure that they bounce right back and keep their head in the game. So you'll love that they've been doing that. They've really they had a big save earlier. That's the reason we're still playing on right now, because there would have been 7 on the board for Dotes if not. So hand it to Double Trouble to get back, and I like that look as well on the transition. I think with how good Disbel is playing right now, you got to find a way to stop Disbel, and then you got to get back downfield. But we're looking on to that game number 3 as there is that 7th goal here for Dotes. And again, it's Disbel getting involved in the play, forces Michael off the ball with another attempt at a bump, and that is another thing that we have talked about Dotes adding to their arsenal that the other side have got to look out for is these big bump plays, these attempts to take the final defender out. It's working consistently.
Yeah, and while a lot of teams kind of look for those physical plays, the bumps, demos to try to just slow the other team down, the scary thing about Dotes is they use them offensively as well. It's kind of like, a precision strike more than just, oh, we're trying to throw you off. They'll put a shot attempt in, speed ahead, and bump you out of the way to essentially ensure the goal. So it's Dotes. Even, they have the threatening offense, and even the bumps, the defense is threatening in its own right, which I think makes it, really scary to play against.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good look against Double Trouble, who like to play that goal line defense. We've seen Double Trouble make some really big saves on the goal line consistently throughout these series. So if there's a defender on the goal line, what do? You just storm forward, like you said, take him out of the play, and then all of a sudden it's an easy tap in. So those are the sorts of things that are going to be on Double Trouble's mind as we go into this this game number 3. We've only seen one game, but of course Dotes had that game in hand coming in, which is so huge. So now they have a 2-0 lead coming into this game, and even though we saw a lot of good things from Double Trouble, I think they have to make some immediate adjustments again, I hate to keep saying this, but if they don't keep Disbel off the board, they're done right here, and I think they can maybe stop Disbel and then push downfield to try to get that 2-on-1 against Solitude.
Yeah, I think that's really the key advantage that Double Trouble can find here is Dote's reliance on kind of this split map where Disbel is always the one constantly on offense, and then you always have Solitude back. I think Double Trouble can focus on getting some immediate fast clears, getting the ball past Disbel, and then forcing a 2-on-1 situation against Solitude. That's going to be their best chance for success here, especially now that Solitude is playing a little bit more up. More often than not, that Dote's net has some opportunities where it's open. We'll have to see if Double Trouble can take advantage of that. You do have Fear the Nub having to rotate back for some of that boost. Disbel will be up with that redirect to keep the Double Trouble offense slowed down. You have Fear the Nub fishing for something in this orange corner, but Solitude struggling to get on his wheels just a little bit there with that physical play from Double Trouble, and that will allow Fear the Nub to get on the board first with a nice pass from Michael.
Yeah, a couple of big wins there for Michael. Gets the 50 win and then uses the side wall to pass it out to Fear the Nub, who is ready and waiting. Perfectly placed there, and a perfect play from Double Trouble to overwhelm the defense of Dotes, and it's exactly what we talked about. If they can get Solitude alone, they're going to have a better chance. Solitude doesn't want that Solitude. There's no doubt about it, as his teammate in Disbel is so nice to have, I'm sure, as he's been doing so many good things, but at the same time, there's a blueprint here. I think there's a little bit of a hole in this armor here for this Dote squad, but oh man, but you can't do this. Somebody's got to go up and stop Disbel because he has all the time in the world, and when you're the best mechanical player on the field, you do things like this.
Yeah, it almost looks like Michael accidentally rolled too early there when he was trying to go up to contest, but still, you've got to start to expect these plays out of Disbel and get up early and often to contest some of these resets that he's going for. And now Double Trouble, that nice little lead that they worked so hard for, kind of disappears in an instant. We're back to square one. Fear the Nub fighting for that shot attempt, but Solitude will have the defense, and here comes Disbel. Just trying to float it over these defenders. Solitude gonna miss that one, but again, Double Trouble almost like being forced back into that defensive mindset by the offense from Disbel when there was a really great opportunity that we would have seen Fear the Nub take in that previous series against Whoopsies to take that shot attempt or at least get that clear on to the opposing team's net. And just that threat of Disbel seems to be, instilling some hesitation in those plays that Double Trouble would normally make. We'll see if they're able to course correct that as we're still tied at 1. An opportunity there as well. The self-bump, the team bump coming through from Dotes, but Disbel able to recover, slide that one away off the backboard, be on the sidewall now, and Michael and Fear the Nub hustling back to try to get back possession of this ball and get their offense going yet again. There's a nice little setup potentially from Fear the Nub. Michael has to wrap back for this one pretty aggressively. Might not have had the boost to really make that into a potent offensive play, and Disbel off the side, gonna be able to take this one, secures the wall boost. Looks to be centering this one up for Solitude, who is there for it, but not gonna be able to connect. Disbel wraps again, continues this rotation going. Solitude gonna sneak that one away from him, rotate back onto defense, and now try to defend against Double Trouble, but wait just a minute, it might be Disbel on the offense, waiting for that one patiently, but a nice little play from the blue team will deter that shot attempt. You have Disbolt, again, no boost, rotating, able to pick up the corner, bump Solitude on the way, but it's Disbolt all over the field at this point. Double Trouble trying to chase him down. He has these shot attempts, but it's a great effort still from Double Trouble. Can Solitude float this one in? No, Michael is there for the save. 1-1, all tied up at 1 minute and 35 left to play. We have the ball in possession of Double Trouble, but Solitude sneaking up yet again manages to swipe that one away, and Disbolt being forced to play back on the net. But now the tides will turn. Michael, another great save as we have about 15 seconds ticked away since our previous score. Check-in still 1-1. Disbolt still looking for a play, but Double Trouble still been playing amazing defense, but there you have it, that threat of Disbolt. They're up early, but he's just carrying it over the defenders to secure that goal.
Twirling his way to the goal, twirling his way to victory here, as we have seen Disbolt pull these shots off time and time again. He's got the threat of the flip reset as well, so if it's Disbolt alone in the air with boost, it more often than not is a goal. You know it's at the very least going to be a scoring chance. And that was an interesting few minutes there for Disbolt, as I think finally some things that Double Trouble did got to him, and he was hesitant back in his own end, just sort of waiting, biding his time, but it ends up working out as he does get that chance alone and makes no mistake there. But I gotta hand it to Double Trouble. They found something. Unfortunately, giving up that goal is just the worst time ever to really do that. They've got to get back right now on that horse and really get upfield and make a play happen, because if you go down 3-0 in this series, I don't know, it's just so hard to come back from in a best of 7. But oh man, Disbolt about to do it to him again, but no, Michael says no, gets his 4th save.
Yeah, Double Trouble has really turned it around here in game number 2. Disbolt will finally find that opening, but just comparing the stat line where Dotes was able to win before the time expired with a 2-7 goal victory, now to bring it within 2 goals and down to the wire, they're still in a good spot. It's not out of the question that they're able to secure potentially an early goal here off this kickoff and perhaps even find a tying goal in the remaining seconds. But of course, that is asking a lot against a team like Dotes, who almost prides themselves off of how long they can maintain possession of that ball. With that touch from Disbolt, he's looking to just kind of knock this one down in the corner. And that will be all she wrote for our second game. But keep in mind, that means Dotes is up 3-0 in this best of 7 series.
Yeah, and deservedly so. This is a team that still has not lost a game tonight. So we really got to highlight that, as they are just tearing through the bracket. They get the advantage of having that game coming in for how well they did in the upper, and now they're taking full advantage of that and taking advantage of some opportunities when they're given to them. We talked a lot about Disbolt in the air and how good he is. We've also seen Solitude make some really good plays to get big bumps as well. So again, Dotes switching up how they score goals, even though often Disbolt's going to be involved. It's really tough for Double Trouble to figure out exactly how things are going to happen. And there was a point in that game where both teams found that respect zone, I think, because Double Trouble, they didn't want to have Disbolt beat them anymore. They were staring him down so much. They wanted to try to neutralize him, so they were doing a fabulous job of that. And on the other side, I think we saw, like I said, Disbolt, he was kind of waiting around. We saw a miss from Solitude at mid that might have added to that a little bit, as Disbolt played a lot of defense for about a minute and a half, but then he broke out again and started scoring goals yet again. So he proves he can play some defense as well if he needs to. At this point, if you're Dotes, you just want to get it over with. You just want to get this 4th win of the series and just coast to victory here. But of course, the 4th and final win of a best of 7 always going to be the toughest one to get. And hey, the viewers deserve a potential reverse sweep, I think. We all do from Double Trouble. We know that they can get some goals, they can get some wins. They just got to find that momentum.
Yeah, that previous game really proves it. I mean, it was tied at 1s for such a long time, and Double Trouble even able to get on the board early yet again. They really have to just continue that, getting up on the board early, like that aggressive play coming through, and just like that, ask and you shall receive. Double Trouble up on the board early. And to finish my point, Now they need to just continue this aggression. They showed us that in the previous game, kind of the asterisk to it being that they were down in goals, that they needed to get back on the board, but now they can stick to that game plan that's been working for them in these brief moments that they kind of dialed in that previous series, and they really need to continue to address Disbel is the big kind of tough ask that you have for Double Trouble. We'll see how it plays out, but essentially stage one of that game plan is done. They are on the board early. They are forcing Dotes to come to them, and then with that puzzle piece that they unlocked with kind of shutting down Disbel in some of these moments and on some of these plays, it might finally come together here for Double Trouble. But again, it is do or die time for them right now. Dotes with that game advantage up 3-0 in the series. Really just looking to close it out here, but another great demo coming through from Michael with the potential to secure that goal. Disbel here, not a lot of boost, but manages to sneak it by the defender to find the tying goal at once.
Oh man, and that really just slipped out of the hands of Double Trouble there. There was another big demo, you called it out. The demo was what gave Double Trouble their first goal, but unfortunately there they can't capitalize again, and it's Disbel this time who's still on the field, and he gets upfield in a hurry to put that on. But I love what Double Trouble are doing. I think that strategy they had in the very beginning is perfect, especially if Disbel's going to be waiting back a little bit. You can go to the goal line, you can take him out. That's going to be a goal against, as there's a miss at mid. Tough miss there for Double Trouble, as Dotes will get themselves a goal, but still, this choppy play from Double Trouble trying to get involved and trying to just really punch back against Disbel is really what they need to do. But unfortunately for them, after that play right there, they'll be playing from behind yet again.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of situations where that's the correct play out of Double Trouble. Just unfortunately they missed, and Dotes takes advantage, and with that they'll now have that 1-goal lead as we're at 2-1 on the scoreboard now in favor of Dotes. But Double Trouble looking like they're not done just yet. Continuing this fight against Dotes and Disbel with another great save coming through from Michael. Michael up for this one, but being contested, has to reset just a bit. Solitude shadowing that ball, but letting Disbel take that hit, seeing if he can open up this Double Trouble defense, and now has that boost to potentially get that clear, but the pressure is on from Double Trouble. Taking that one away and seeing if they can get anything out of it. But really what this is allowing them to do is force Disbel on these rotations. Solitude has to take this one. He does get bumped, but the shot was on target. So that one will connect for Dotes as they're up 3-1 now.
Good bounce there from Solitude. Gets the ball on just before he is taken out of the play, as the defender just a little too late to that ball, but hand to Solitude, using the bounce to his advantage, chipping it over, get involved in the offense as well. That's actually his second goal as well, and I was about to call out that I think Solitude's playing hesitant, as we've seen at times, but there he was to get that play, get that open ball. So the positioning has been one thing that Solitude has been there consistently doing, is just positioning himself in a good spot to make sure he's back on defense. He's constantly supporting Disbel, and when there are plays to be made, he's also there to make them. This is a team that understands their strengths in Dotes, they know their weaknesses, and they're playing to both, making sure that those weaknesses aren't highlighted and the strengths are really what we see.
Yeah, speaking of strengths, both teams there going at it. Disbel potentially with that goal, but a great save from Fear the Nub. We'll keep this one potentially in reach, and there's that transition, taking advantage of that Dotes commitment to their offensive game, finally paying off now for Double Trouble. I think if they can string a couple more of those together, they're looking good in this fourth game of the series. We'll have to see. Typically, when Double Trouble manages to find that goal, Dotes has been able to fire right back. It's exactly what we have here. Solitude immediately responding with a goal of his own to take back the 2-goal lead.
Yeah, and Michael, right place. I think it was the right decision as well. You don't necessarily want to challenge on that. He had good positioning on the shadow, but the turn got him. Hand it to Solitude as he puts it to the side of the net that was against Michael's turn. He had to move around on it, and now, oh man, the wheels might be falling off. Here's another kickoff goal. Kickoff is just killing Double Trouble all of a sudden. And so for Dotes, we've seen great aerial goals. We've seen bump plays lead into goals. We've seen now kickoff goals consistently. So that is just so tough to defend against as Dotes continue to find a way to score. Solitude has 3, his first hat trick of the night, as he's been the goal scorer here in this potentially clinching game right now, and showing us that, hey, he's not all defense right now. This team can do it all.
Yeah, I think that's what's kind of scary about Dotes. From what we've seen, we typically see Disbel as being that point man, but in a lot of these matchups, he's not so heavily contested to where Solitude can hang back on defense. Clearly, Double Trouble, they're taking this one seriously, as that one almost manages to find the net. It's a battle here, but a great save from Disbel. Michael still having possession. Solitude does have that boost, and that one just slightly going to bounce out of net. Michael continuing to fight, however. Got a minute and 8 seconds on the clock, and Dotes has a 3-goal lead, so Double Trouble trying to cut back on that one. But, the biggest kind of form of respect I've seen from Dotes for Double Trouble is that Solitude has come to play. He's now on the opposite side of the pitch, getting involved, and that's something we didn't even really see Dotes feel the need to do against certain rosters, but that just kind of shows you how serious they are taking this matchup. They're not leaving all of the offense in Disbel's hands. They're really kind of utilizing that team play, and that's really kind of showed us that, yeah, they are not, I don't want to call it holding back, but they have all these kind of tools at their disposal that they're having to take advantage of here. And another heartbreak miss for Double Trouble, just slightly off target yet again. Potentially 2 goals that would have cut this one within 1, just slightly bouncing out of net in heartbreak fashion. And here we have Dotes with 5 seconds left to play, just needing to kill this ball. And it'll be all she wrote. Dotes will be your champions here today.
Wow, and in the end, you look at this bracket run that they had, and it looks like they had an easy time. I will say there were times that some games were in question, but I don't know if any of these series really ever were, with Dotes being so dominant, led by Disbel. Even though we see Solitude there with the 3 goals on top in this game, you got to hand it to Disbel. Definitely that player that everyone needed to respect and look out for. And we talked about Double Trouble, and we talked about Dotes and what they did. Did they hold back? No, I think they adapted. This is the Adaptive Esports tournament, right? And that's what you've got to do. You're not going to show all your hands, right? You're not going to come out and try to play a bunch of different styles. If it's working, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right. But we did see Double Trouble in that game, game 3 technically, but 2 of the games we saw. It's confusing, right? But we saw them start to finally neutralize the Disbel offense, the Disbel machine that was just tearing through teams. And what did they do? They immediately switched it up. We saw Solitude start to get into play more. We saw Disbel even bide his time, wait a little bit more, not necessarily be as aggressive, recognizing they're trying to take him out. And all of those sorts of adjustments that you talk about, it led to a team that in the end, they really didn't have a team on the other side that could really match them mechanically and match the team cohesion that we saw consistently throughout.
Yeah, I think, end of the day, it's the consistency out of Dotes that really kind of sets them apart. You have this playmaking ability out of Disbel, the defense, and then they showed us that, when Solitude needs to come out of net, they have that teamwork and passing plays that they're looking for as well. I think the biggest thing, though, is that by the end, by this grand final, we were seeing Dotes finally needing to adapt, right? And we saw people start to force Disbel to make these adjustments. It's almost like, a post-credit scene where, suddenly, like, the armor is slightly cracked, right? When before it was perfect and pristine. So teams are starting to figure out how to play against Dotes. I do just feel like they came in with such an advantage. A lot of these teams didn't know what to expect, but to kind of look back towards the previous season and what happened there with Whoopsies, they kind of set the bar, right? And teams said, here's the bar. They came in and exceeded it. So I can only expect going into future events that they'll start to figure out Dotes. They'll know what they need to do, and it'll kind of be this almost rock, paper, scissors style of adapting to their opponents. So while super impressed with how Dotes played, and obviously a huge congratulations to them. I think they showed off some amazing skills and teamwork and the like. I do think a lot of these teams, just having interviewed and speaking to them, are going to not take it personally, but use it as motivation to continue to then elevate their own game and pursue kind of that style and then overtake them. So I think it's really setting the stage for something exciting where you have these previous season champions, but nothing is set in stone.
Not at all, and you know that there's going to be some switching up a little bit too. We saw that in between these tournaments. Players were learning more about each other, not just as opponents, but also finding out if they who's going to be that perfect teammate for them. And we saw some really good rosters come together in this tournament. I expect we're going to see a little bit of a shakeup there as well. But yeah, the players have such a better understanding of the skill levels. They have the understanding of that bar that's been set. The bar has definitely been raised, like you said, and a lot of that was Dotes and some of these mechanical plays, because they were doing things that a lot of teams just weren't doing, especially once they got into the air with their reset ability and things like that. So yeah, you love that the skill continues to get better. The players continue to find teammates and teams that work out that just lead to more and more competition. So I'm excited. I hope we continue this, and I hope I continue to get a chance to be a part of it, because it has been a phenomenal ride. I'm just sad it's over.
Yeah, it's kind of that bittersweet feeling, but I think the best thing is, continuing to see that progression and evolution year after year. If you compared last season to this one, I think you'd see drastic, not only changes in gameplay, but just in kind of the seriousness, right? Now people are saying, all right, this is a thing. I'm going to sign up, get involved, and the one thing I will say before throwing it over to Glitter Explosion is I'm excited who the next ringer is going to be, because that's what happened with Disbel. We had Solitude early on playing with a random teammate, and then he's like, all right, let me pull in my guy over here, and then it just took off from there. So super excited to see what the future holds for Adaptive Esports tournaments and their players. But Glitter Explosion, we got to talk for a while. What do you think about that grand final?
I think everybody loves a little healthy competition, okay? I love that season to season we've seen so many of those improvements like you were talking about. We knew that Dotes was going to be...
Well, some of us knew they were going to win.
Oh, you know what? This is the moment where we will give Frank his 5 seconds. You did good.
Thanks. I wrote the script, so...
all of your predictions were right.
Shockingly, I need to go buy a lottery. I don't know. Maybe it's a new year thing.
It won't ever happen for any other season from here on out.
This is going to be one
moment. This is the one season that will be on record where Frank was right. Okay? Now, like I was saying, phenomenal performance out of both the squads. We knew Dotes was going to be a tough opponent.
Yeah.
And Neville Trouble really did do a lot of adapting throughout the process, like you were saying. So we have to give them huge kudos. We'll take a look at the final breakdown of those standings and the prize pool that those teams get to take home, because as you're saying, Dotes, the champion, first place, going home with $6,500. That's gotta feel good.
Yeah, and I mean, well-earned, well-deserved. They really put their heart and soul into their gameplay and even kind of made those adjustments when they needed to, which I think was kind of the most impressive thing to me. Is in those early qualifiers, they had like the one strategy, kind of like the one trick, like Disbel's going to be able to do this and I'm going to be back on defense, but they showed us, no, they're much more well-rounded. But of course, it's their opponents forcing them to reveal that and forcing them to elevate and work together even more, not just letting Disbel kind of take control of the offense. And you had Double Trouble, of course, coming in second, taking home $4,500. And those were two players there from the beginning, really putting in that work, finishing at the top of our leaderboard, but kind of recognizing that all these other competitors are just as viable. But I think that does, for anyone interested in getting involved in AET,
do it.
It shows you the advantage of getting in early, because and not every time is the previous season champion going to come in during the LCQ and get that 8th spot, and you have to play against the champions. But to Double Trouble's credit, they managed to defeat them twice. So, and Whoopsies too, a great showing, coming in late, not having the reps, the experience of actually playing, but having that knowledge and being able to still finish third, I think is a testament to their great play as well. And I just honestly wish we got to see more of those matches. So maybe that's something we adjust for the future with the more AET that we have on the way.
I think what Frank is saying is that he needs more of this.
More.
ASAP. Okay. And speaking of that, we are going to have more seasons of our adaptive esports tournaments in the works in the future. Okay, so if you would like to participate in all of the awesome stuff that you saw happen here over just today or over the entire 6 weeks that we've done this, they can head on over to at.gg and get yourself signed up. You can apply, learn more information on how to do all of that. And not only that, but that means you can also participate in our awesome community nights.
Yeah, I want to highlight that too, because really, like, the point of the adaptive esports tournaments is to put on esports tournaments for players with disabilities.
Yes.
But we also have our community game nights where it's not Rocket League, it's not a tournament, it's social.
Fun.
We've been playing games like Golf with Friends, other more casual games, Fall Guys, that sort of thing. So really, if you're watching this and you're like, well, I'm not that good, well, guess what? That doesn't matter. Still go to aet.gg, sign up, because we're also trying to build this as a community around kind of this tournament to kind of get the awareness out there. So, yeah, I just don't want anyone to get it twisted that, like, why would I sign up? I'm not that good at Rocket League.
Hang out with us.
Hang out, and also, suggest games. Just get involved. It's a really, I think, awesome experience. I feel like just awesome about being able to cast these games, and with the way these players are getting better and better. Get in early, and would love to see you potentially in the future tournaments. You could be our next AET champion, walking away with $6,500, and doesn't sound too bad to me. So
not too shabby.
Yeah, head on over to aet.gg and apply.
Yeah, and one more reminder immediately after this broadcast is that community game night that Frank is talking about, hyping up so much. The community has grown so much over the last couple seasons. It's been a wonderful experience to be here with all of you. So make sure you stick around and enjoy that social aspect of all the amazing people that have come together over these last couple seasons. It has been an absolute pleasure and an honor being here with you for yet another one. But it's time. This is the end of this season. I'm very excited for when we get to meet again.
Yeah.
But until then,
stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.